Weirds me out, people with hats that don't. Non-functional apparel irritates me.
Okay.
What do you mean irritates you?
Oh boy.
Serves no
mean
purpose.
non-functional? Here we go.
It is a bucket hat. Fucking hate it.
Are we going fishing after
I hate
this?
it, man.
Going out on the boat.
What is it? You know what it reminds me of? It's
turn the hat around first off.
I don't know if this is a weird reference. It's
now it makes sense.
Paul's one of those comics, right, that when you work with or you're around, you start to take on some of their characteristics a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You start to take on some of their expressions or their like the way they see the world a little bit.
I never drank till I met Paul Hooper.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I
Sorry,
started.
guys.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I got a lot of hoop comparisons early in my comedy days, not for the comedy, but for pulling my dick out at comedy clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
But then traveling with you was...
What would you ever think that that's what people want to see? Either one of you.
Oh, they
Whoa.
wanted to see it. The club just didn't want me to do it. Like, I'm positive it was a hit. I know it was the right decision. You know what I mean? I stand by it.
No.
It was a bachelorette party. They had a list of things they needed. I said, "Do you need to see a dick?" She checked the list and said yes. And I was like, fine.
Here you go.
And then I got tackled and they were like, "You can't do that because Paul Hooper."
Wasn't it
man.
last time that you did Greensboro? Didn't they fucking tape you up with duct tape or some shit?
15, 20 years ago. Yeah,
They
I may have
taped
pulled my
you up
nuts.
with duct tape?
Yeah, there's
They
pictures.
tried
of
to
this.
hog tie me in a cab. They were trying to get me out of there and put me in a cab. And I
That's
jumped out
such
the
a-
other side.
Such a fantastic sentence.
You know? They tried to hog tie me with a seatbelt and I jump out the other side. And then they did that with 2 or 3 cabs. You know, I don't think duct tape, though.
Dude, isn't there a picture of you with duct tape on your pants?
Oh, there's a guy. Oh, yeah, that's in Matthews. Yeah, don't put your pants
that
up.
was Matthews?
The Matthews
Oh,
Comedy
okay.
Zone. They tried to, like, you do a guest set tonight, but we're putting duct tape so you can't pull your dick or balls out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, agreed. So it looks like a skydiving harness, sort of like one of those things.
Yeah.
But then a guy in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the manager did duct tape me and threaten to throw me in a river because of I was acting like an asshole.
In a joking way?
Yeah, in a joking way.
Yeah.
So
You get a
him
lot
and
of
the
death
bouncers-
threats via joke.
I'm complimented by it. So I'm honored. Like I finally got him. How fast can you get to the death threat?
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
It's a real victory.
That's what it is.
It was nice traveling with you
That's
with the
insane.
OCD because I felt like we were, I'm pretty OCD as well. We both had a half of the room. I didn't have to check the whole room because I knew you had your other half manned. I didn't have to check the door more than 2 or 3 times because you were going to do it.
Yeah.
15. It was pretty good.
And
So
I
that's
remember
interesting. You could turn over your OCD to his?
I trusted his OCD so much that it let my OCD take a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
You know, like there's only
Travel.
certain people you can drive with. For me, there's only certain people I can sleep with while they're driving. And I felt like I could let my OCD could let Paul's drive. You know?
I
That's
see.
very
I'm the
interesting
same
to me.
way. Yeah.
Will you have a
More
similar
comfortable.
way if you know somebody else has OCD that yours relaxes a little?
I thought about this, not the same thing, but I recently sometimes traveling out of the country and stuff. People always now that I'm like this OCD guy, they're like, you're not adventurous. You got to live. I get that a lot. Like, you want to get off in these foreign ports? I'm like, I'm not doing that. Or whatever. Like, they're like, you got to live your life. And I'm like, it's you. It's not the port. It's the company I keep. The person I'm going. There's strangers I would skydive with before I'd go to a bar with some of my friends. You know what I mean? Like, if I trust the human being I'm with, then I'm an adventurous person. But no,
Right.
it's the company. So
Yeah,
I
we
sort
went
of
to
feel that.
Japan
Like, if I
together.
trust someone,
We
I
went
travel
swimming with sharks.
Yeah.
You're very
Yeah.
comfortable around me.
That's right. We swim with
I know.
sharks.
We almost did.
Never.
Yeah,
You
we walked
almost
by
did?
him. We walked by him.
Walked by him. That's close enough.
That's it.
You walked by him on the way to your pedicures? Or?
No, we would take moonlight walks after the show
Oh.
Yeah.
and walk around
Shark Lagoon.
the Atlantis, which is like just glorious, like
so
all
nice.
these pools of sharks and
Sounds great.
odd exotic animals swimming around and just
I will say this, staying with Trundy in the room, he did warm it, and I like to keep an air conditioning cold, but he's like, I keep it real cold. And I mean, he set new levels of
Oh, yeah. You were
Of
like,
cold
I love
fridge.
it cold.
Oh, that's
dude, it
awesome.
And then he
was
said,
brutal.
you froze me out. And I was like, dude, I apologize. Yeah, as cold as I can possibly get it is where it,
Crazy cold.
I
mean,
have my
like,
AC on at the house right now, dude.
Dude,
we have a little bit of that here where it's like you like it colder in here.
I do like it cold. Well, it fucking it's warmer than I would like it, but you get I get sleepy, dude. Like heat's like a luxury I didn't have as a kid So I feel like anytime I get heat, I'm just like, nap time.
I feel the same. Yeah. Well, the Letterman studio was always cold.
That's that thing. Yeah.
All TV
Yeah.
studios should be cold. I mean, you want all your guests in there, fucking. You know what I mean?
I agree with that because if you're gonna err on any side, err on the side of being cold because if it's too hot, then what the fuck are you gonna do?
Right.
Can't get naked at the or whatever.
Yeah.
But I did do a show once in Atlanta. They had a place. Did you ever do the hangar? Did you ever go to the hangar, Tom? It was literally a hangar. Like I don't know why there was a hangar in Atlanta, because it wasn't like out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But they started doing stand-up comedy shows there, and then they started doing, just year-round. But then when it got into wintertime, they had no heat, and it was just like couches and just people just trying to bundle up with blankets and shit. And okay, there is a point where it can get too cold for comedy.
Hey, we're going to the comedy show. Bring your sleeping bag.
Yeah. Bring your thermos and all that. But yeah, there is a point where it can get too cold, I guess. But I still rather fall on the side of too cold than too hot. Too hot, I can't fucking handle it.
I can't sleep if it's not freezing.
I get cold too.
Yeah, I can breathe better.
Carlos, I feel like I met you 100 times, and it was always in another city. Like you're pretty in Charlotte right now, regularly.
Right.
But you were with a guy that I would out of nowhere, you'd be in Oregon, and I'm working a weekend there. And all of a sudden, there you are. And then you're in Hilton Head or you're wherever. You were out there.
Yeah, we would
traveling around, doing guest sets.
Yeah. I remember. I think the reason I ever got booked at a Skyline back up in Appleton is because I think you were there, and I was crossing through, and I think I did a guest spot I forget. It's been so long, but it would be shit like that. I just we crossed paths in Appleton or some shit like that,
right?
Or we just random places all over the country.
Yeah, because I don't know if we were both working, or you were working and also showcasing. I feel like it was
that sort of thing. Yeah.
When you were coming up, and you're just like, I'm going to get work. I'm traveling around doing sets.
That's basically when I was on the road a lot, I would go if I have a gig, say if I got booked in Rochester, Minnesota, and then I know I have a long way drive back to North Carolina. Well, let me see what I can hit up on the way back. So that's when I would try to okay, whatever comedy club, and then I would try to find out if there's maybe a comic that I know that's performing there that maybe can help me try to get a guest spot.
Right.
And it would work sometimes it didn't, but I'd at least try to get a guest spot wherever I could on my way back.
So yeah, you're of your generation of comics. I don't know which years those are, but I don't know. I just felt like you were out working most of them.
I was trying.
Always out there trying and doing sets and.
I was trying. I mean, I remember you guys talking about this, but of the people that started, I started in 05, 06. I think there's maybe 5 comics that still do it, of the ones that I started out with, and everybody else just got day jobs.
I think it's the same for me too.
Really?
I think that's same. My little group in Atlanta, there's not, maybe more than that, but. Specifically, I've been thinking about Charlotte. Why? I don't want to keep slamming Charlotte, but Greensboro's got this great scene. What's so funny?
It's just a funny juxtaposition between Carlos's hat, you guys talking to each other, and then I cut to you and you're wearing that shirt.
I know. I'm not even going to be.
This shirt is great.
I
don't know what your problem is.
I'm losing it because
look at this.
Don't get shirt bullied.
Come on.
I'm not going to make it on air for this one.
Oh, it's
Carlos, you can throw these back here if you'd like.
Oh no! Are you you're just now telling me that?
No, I saw what you were doing now.
Look at this. Yeah. I could have been sexy the whole time.
That's your trademark, that hat. I don't think I've ever seen. That's the first time I've seen you without the hat on.
Yeah, I don't want to. It's the illusion of.
Then we got to go fucking a bunch of women beating on the door now, trying to fuck Carlos.
He gets a fedora waiver. We talked about this on the way up. He's the only guy that I feel like can pull it off, or it's such a part of him.
I just think I've been doing it for so long that it's just I guess we got to accept the fact that he wears a stupid hat.
I don't think people think about it anymore.
It's a stupid hat, man.
No. Is it a pork pie or a fedora?
No, from what I hear, it's called it's either Trilby or Tribly.
Weirds me out, people with hats that don't. Non-functional apparel, it irritates me.
Okay.
What do you mean irritates you?
Oh boy.
Serves no purpose.
Here we go.
It is a bucket hat. Fucking hate it.
Are we going fishing after
hate
this?
it, man.
going out on the boat.
What is it? You know what it reminds me of? It's
turn the hat around first off. Tom.
I don't know if this is a weird reference. It's
now it makes sense.
Wasn't there? You may remember wasn't it like a Five-O the mouse wore a hat like that? Do you remember 30 years ago? There's a little cartoon mouse that wore some shit.
What are you, 80 years old?
He was on a
Five-O goes to jail.
Five-O, I don't know. I fully wore a bucket hat. Like I hate it.
You hate a bucket hat.
I hate most hats. I mean, baseball.
Jeez, that's the loudest he's been the whole.
Sorry.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Non-functional, like cowboy boots when you don't own a horse, pisses me off. It serves no purpose. You're wearing uncomfortable footwear.
But that's comfortable for some people.
What about those? Do you skateboard?
I used to.
Okay.
But they still serve as shoes, right? I mean, I don't know. I got to have shoes on today.
Yeah.
So I feel like you don't have to have a hat on today. No one has to have a hat on unless you're riding a horse cross country. You can't. No one's gonna be out in the sun. It's to block the sun. That's what hats are for, right?
Or to cover up a bad hair day.
So we're talking.
I'll do that regularly.
Are those women that now it's very trendy to wear those fucking Dr. Quinn medicine woman hats? You look an asshole. It's this big.
Yeah.
Kentucky Derby hats.
Like a church hat.
That's men wear it
Church
too.
hat,
Yeah. And it just sucks. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me when you wear stuff like that. It doesn't, like a vest doesn't make any fucking sense.
I feel that way about ties. Is there a functional reason to have a tie?
No.
It's just
Yeah,
for
so
show.
I can grab you by the fucking neck and smash your fucking.
Oh,
head.
so
a good
that's
reason.
what
If it looks nicer, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
But that's not a practical reason.
No, it's not
You know what I mean?
functional.
It's
Serves
like-
no
well,
purpose.
it's like this shirt. This is about style. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
It's about
that's about being a winner.
yeah, it's right. It's about
So
setting our mindset inside of you. You know.
Yeah, and so you get that Mamba mentality when you get that wear that shirt.
In the podcast, I would like for an image of Tom 3 months ago to come up when he's wearing all the bracelets. and
Wearing
shit.
bracelets.
Oh yeah, but that's what's fucking rope bracelets people wear that serve no purpose.
They're
What is
not-
that?
they're-
Is it a
that's
spirit-
just-
is it a yoga thing?
Huh? No, it's just a thing to have to have fashion or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that wearing a
Adorn,
watch.
Well,
or
some of
whatever.
those stones, the crystals, they mean things to people. They help with energy and shit like that. So I understand it.
Oh, really?
20 years ago, I
This
had a
is
leather.
actually moon water. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, that's
people
right.
think
Oh,
it
he's
is
right.
moon water.
I wore a leather band one time 20 years ago from Hot Topic, and people would call me out on it like, "What's that?
Yeah.
Is that a watch?" I'm like, "No, it's." They're like, "That sucks." I'm like, "You're right."
Is
You're
that
right.
why you feel the way you feel now because of that interaction?
I still feel bad for doing it, but it served no purpose.
Feel
I'm like,
bad for doing.
yeah, I feel bad. It serves no, I like do things that matter, like wear something that helps. Why,
You're not
otherwise,
an-
don't put it on.
You're not an accessory guy.
No.
Well,
But
Never.
weren't you guys talking about suits and shit earlier?
Suits, yeah, but I can sort of justify. So you got to wear something. You got to wear a shirt. You don't necessarily need to wear a jacket, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't wear the jacket when it's hot. I wouldn't wear a suit when I'm sweating
Yeah.
balls.
As comics, if you try to do that shit, we're gonna bust your balls like a motherfucker. Like
Yeah.
we don't like if we try to do any kind of guy that dresses. I mean, I get enough shit just for wearing a hat.
Do you?
Imagine if I just
Okay.
like
So let's talk about this, right? You get shit for wearing the hat. You get shit for posting fucking topless photos on the
for
internet.
being a douche.
Yeah, I just at what point are we impervious? Because I'll be honest, like there's not a whole lot of things you guys, and I like you guys, but other comedians, I don't give a fuck about. Like
Yeah.
they could break my balls about, you saw my haircut for a year and a half. Like I just, at some point, those dumb opinions don't mean anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And I think forever ago, they would have affected me. And now it's just like, you're broken too. You know what I mean? Like you had a hard time waking up this morning. I don't need to take shit
Yeah.
from you.
I don't know how long
Yeah.
I can make it. Much longer I can make it wearing the shirt.
You need to change,
I
Tom.
might need to go put on something else.
Why are you so
You
uncomfortable
chose
with it?
this.
I know I did.
But this is the same thing, right? Like when
Because I want to be able to
Wear
person
your
that could pull this stuff
hair
off,
shirt.
but I'm just not
well,
that guy. You know what I
then
mean?
just keep wearing the shirt, and you'll be the person who pulls it off by
Oh,
default.
yeah.
But when you started posting when you got into your health, like when you were like, "Fuck it," because that was just what 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, up until then, you really weren't giving a fuck about yourself because you were just one of us, right? And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
there's a thing that clicks in you. It's like, oh, I have to care about me. And then when you started doing that publicly, people were breaking your balls about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are we so insecure that Paul taking care of himself is a threat to us?
Yeah, it was a very strange thing. I didn't expect all that. It was sort of a fluke. I think I
feel like you
posted a
did.
couple. Why? Some of it was like, it originally came from being in the Bahamas, 2018 with Clint, and I was like, On post, it was like wintertime. I was still living in New York. So all my friends, it sucks up there. So I'm like, I'm gonna rub it in their face. I'm on a beach in the winter, and it became that. And then a couple shirtless poses. Then there were some positive reactions, and then there was a lot of fucking blowback. So it was sort of perfect, and it was a fucking lot of entertainment for 2 weeks. So like, let's just beat it into the ground for these 2 weeks, and then try to do it again the next year, and it became like an annual thing.
That. Every time I saw it, I loved it. Big fan.
And it was. Thank you. See, he was actually took some pictures down in Florida, and he was like very supportive. Some of my friends I never think were like really behind it. And other people were really irritated about it, or there are people that I know never liked the post, but I'd see them. I hadn't seen them in 8 months. I'd see them at a show, and I saw that photo. You saw that photo from December? It's July.
Yeah, dude. They've been carrying that around in their fucking mental wallet the whole fucking time, waiting to see you to break your balls. And it's like, dude, I love you. I'm fucking so happy you're gonna live a little bit longer. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Yeah. See, that was like healthy and supportive. And I know you push it too far, but I don't know. I never got offended because if I see a guy that's in good shape or a girl, I mean, of course, whatever. Nudity. It's like I don't go. If you were shirtless on the internet, I wouldn't be like, what the fuck's he doing?
I would hope you would tell me to put a shirt on.
I don't care. I don't know. Not that shirt. That'd be better if you were bare chested. With your balls out right now.
If this is the option, then yeah, maybe do more shirtless.
Shitty Laughlin comedian.
Is it the
magician.
red? Is it the red that gets
it's
you?
It's the red, and then there's a irritating pattern in it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's just red, shiny, and then there's something else in it. Paisley.
Flowers, dude.
Oh, it sucks. It's terrible.
It's
so
nice.
shy. I'm glad you sat down at least. That took it down a bit.
What fabric is that? What is that actually?
I don't know. It's smooth. It's not silk.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Rayon?
It's nice.
Probably.
Probably some rayon.
Looks like what they make
Rayon.
like geisha, dresses
yeah.
from. Like that sort of material. I don't know what it is, but
I think that's silk.
Geisha.
so, yeah, geishas.
Is it geisha or geisha?
Oh,
Geisha.
I always said geisha.
I think it's geisha. Yeah.
Depends what part of the country you're from.
Yeah.
I remember first few months in comedy, I wore a tank top to a mic, and I learned really fast not to do that again.
Oh yeah.
Very
No.
Tank top, no shorts. Is that the big rule too? No shorts.
Yeah, fuck that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm over it. I for a while I was I was like, oh, fucking shorts on stage. But I also was like such a lunatic that if I saw a comic on stage with a watch, I didn't trust him.
Really?
So I was like, where you going?
Yeah.
Where you going? You late for something?
Yeah.
You got no need for that up there. You know what I mean? But then now I'm just like, well, that's how fucking stupid were all of these rules that nobody actually made.
Right.
You know?
The audience doesn't
You're like,
care.
look at this guy trying to stay to his time.
You know what I mean? No, I don't know.
Look
like
at this
fucking,
guy not trying to run the light.
Yeah, but in my head, I was just like, just stick your time. You know what I mean? Like, stick your time with your brain. You know what I mean? I got a meeting after this? Get out of here.
I always feel that way when I see. Have you ever seen gangbang videos?
Yes.
And there's dudes that'll take all their clothes off, but still leave the
socks.
watch.
Oh, the watch. Yeah.
Well, the socks too, but in the watch, and that's how I feel about that. It's like, really, you have like a meeting at the fucking.
Yeah.
you're
This is where you want to be.
Yeah.
You can be late for everything else, dude. Take the watch
No,
off.
you don't need the watch at a gangbang.
Yeah. If
Why?
it's
Because
like,
you got your
Well,
iPhone.
maybe someone might steal it.
Yeah, that's right. In your ass, I guess that's where you're keeping.
well,
it?
that was a racist comment that Seth made, and we all missed.
Oh,
it.
I missed this.
I mean, like, you don't
Oh.
know these people. I'm assuming you don't meet up like, hey, meet up me here at the gangbang. It's just you get there and it's strangers. You don't
He
know
said
these
you.
people.
He said you wear your watch because you think somebody's gonna steal it. And in
Oh,
my head, at this
Lord.
gangbang,
It's kind of
they were all-
racist that you think all gangbangs have to have just black people.
just
there.
the ones I watch.
I don't. They all have lockers in the gangbangs I watch, which with
I've
locks.
never watched one.
Really, you never watch a
Oh, you have
gangbang
to.
video?
Pull it up on the
Let's
top.
pull it,
Oh,
yeah,
boy,
on the
here we
screen
go.
down there.
Pull it up under Tom's favorites. Biggest liar.
Dumbest
in the
guy in the room
Yeah.
reacts.
room.
I'd rather see a nude guy with a watch than socks, though. That's really odd, right? To be just nude with socks on standing somewhere. Unless you're just standing in the parking lot.
But what if they
Sucks
have
to
like
make sense.
those fungus nails and shit? You don't want to see that.
Get a pedicure.
I guess not see it. I don't know, but what are they worried about?
I'd rather the watch.
I'll
I
take a
don't know.
watch.
Yeah, I
I
don't
never
know.
watch
even
would
thought of
bother me.
this. I
It's
never
a
thought
nice
of this
little
ever.
shine on the POV, you know? Sometimes I get back there and you see the watch. you
So
know?
the watch should be the
Yeah.
one of the first things you take off when you're
I
getting.
mean, put it away with the rest of your shit. I don't know why you
I
have to
agree,
keep it
but-
on while you're in the gangbang. Like, we
Well,
got a
she took my
shareholders
pants off.
meeting
She didn't
after
ta-
this.
she, like a girl, if she's taking my
Listen,
pants off, I'm not going to be like, wait a minute, let me
Listen,
get my watch.
She
for
didn't
it.
that's
take
not
your
a-
pants off. She's got other things to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
She's
she's
very
busy.
busy. She can't go around taking 18 people's pants off, Tom. It's just
Right.
doesn't make a lot. It's not efficient.
So what if it's just a normal one-on-one
Gang bang?
Just a normal one-on-one bang. You know what
Missionary
I mean?
and
Like
everything.
1v1.
One, just me and her. Can
Single
I have the
bang,
watch on at
single
that
bang.
point, or do I need to have a watch off?
I think that's up to you two, and whatever you do, it's up to you two and God.
More acceptable to just
See, with that, I mean, I guess it goes either way.
You're wearing a watch.
Well, but it's a Fitbit though. So if I want to keep track of my heart rate while I'm, doing the
Get credit for those steps.
Right. So that's different because there is an actual purpose to still keeping or if you have one of those fancy iWatches. Or
So
whatever.
Apple Watches and Fitbits only during gangbangs.
Yeah, instead of
That's
telling
the
you to
rule.
stand up, it's time to gangbang.
For health reasons. But if you have like just an analog watch, then I don't see the purpose in keeping it.
So get it off.
Yes.
I agree. Be full nude, yes. But
Yes.
leave the watch on instead of the socks if you had to choose. Which you're
Yeah.
not gonna have to. But
If it's
get
got to
nude.
be either or, then
Depends
yeah.
on where we're fucking. Is there
Grip.
carpet?
Grip. Yep.
Yeah. You don't want socks on a hardwood floor. You know what I mean?
Oh, the shock?
No.
No.
Slipping and sliding.
Slipping and
Slip and
sliding.
slide. Yeah.
need
What
some
if you're in the
clips.
walk-in?
The walk-in cooler? Where? At Arby's?
The
What are we
walk-in.
talking about?
The
You're-
walk-in
I'm saying
gangbang.
some of my viewers work in restaurants.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
They do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they're in the walk-in, as you do when
Just
you work
pull your
in
pants
restaurants.
down to your ankles and just don't take everything off. You're going to need to go back to work.
Yeah.
So just don't just drop your
Are you
drawers.
getting full nude if you're fucking in public, Tom?
I don't
It's a
know.
risk.
If you do
On a
it,
beach would be nice, yeah, but not in a walk-in cooler.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of a scenario where you'd need the socks still on.
oh, like yeah. That's a good point. Yeah,
Maybe
you might
camping?
be. You don't want to get frostbite.
That's
Well,
right.
Trench foot.
You know, it's funny because I just saw something about. I was thinking about that because I was reading an article on frostbite, and a couple of weeks ago I'd seen an article about Prince Harry at his brother's wedding had frostbite on his penis from going but frostbite, that's serious.
Glory hole?
What?
From going where?
Glory
But
hole.
he went skiing or some shit or whatever, and he
You got frostbite on his
dick
penis
out.
from skiing?
Yeah, dude. You know, when you go skiing, you leave your dick out.
something.
Everybody
I don't
knows
know.
that.
Like,
You've
I
never
don't-
been skiing with rich people.
Well, that's
Kyle.
what he was saying in the interview with whatever Anderson Cooper or whoever he did the interview with,
Frostbite Weekly?
but frostbite is like lose your digits, kind of like it's a
Right.
serious thing, right? It's not.
Yeah, but I don't.
So I think he's lying
I would
about
say
this
that-
whole thing that all the shit he's saying coming down frostbite on the.
on the dick? No.
Yeah.
Well, if you're
doesn't
gonna
make
lie,
any
why
sense.
would you make that one up? Why
I
you
would
make
say the
that
dick
lie?
is probably top 5 worst places to get frostbite.
Yeah.
Yes.
They just
Head
they just
days.
kind of glazed over it in the interview I saw. Maybe it was with like Colbert or somebody, but
You
Wow.
have to
Like-
ask. Yeah, there's a big missing piece to that story.
missing
potentially.
Like, how do you
of
get
his
frostbite on
dick.
your dick? What's the story?
It was something to do with him skiing, being out. Like, yeah, it was so cold, and then he got it through his jeans. I don't know what happened. You know, what
Yeah,
I'm
that's
saying?
Falls
cr-
and gets it.
But
in
if
his
any
pants?
of us are having that conversation and you dropped like, yeah, and so I went to the wedding and I got frostbite on my dick and then we went to the reception. Like, no, dude.
Let's go back to that.
Yeah, we can't. You just don't gloss over. This is a bad interviewer, is what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
whoever was getting this
Both of them.
information.
because
Even
I didn't
if-
realize, but especially now that I realize how, like, when I saw like the difference between frostbite and frost, there's some other thing that's the stage before that, where there you can get full recovery.
Frost-
But, like,
Hypothermia?
Frost
Well,
nibble.
yeah, for that frost nibble or something. Yeah, but for frostbite, it was like usually that results in serious damage, or you have to lose that limb or whatever, or that digit.
Yeah.
It was in the North Pole, apparently.
He was in the North Pole.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Oh wow.
Jealous.
There's
And
an
it was from
epidemic
Stephen
of
Colbert.
frostbite in the North Pole.
it was Colbert.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And what?
It says he went into detail about his infamous frostbitten penis. I'm still reading it right now.
He wasn't detailed because I would know, but there was
Right.
no like, what's the recovery on that? Like, you know,
Before
it's-
the wedding of his brother in Cape Middleton in April, Harry had been on a charity expedition to the North Pole where he'd walked 200 miles across Arctic landscape alongside fellow soldiers who'd served in Afghanistan. The thing about walking 200 miles across Arctic landscape is that your extremities will possibly suffer, and his did. Harry's ears, cheeks, and penis got frostbitten. His circumcised penis, this is so much detail. His circumcised penis, his circumcised penis, that is.
that's too much. Why would they add
Yeah,
that?
well, you could have the little jacket if he was
Oh,
uncircumcised.
okay.
Oh, I see.
There were countless stories in books, papers about Willie and me not being he called his dick Willie, by the way. I'm done with that guy.
Oh, they said Todger in mine. He called it a Todger.
Well, I guess you would have to piss. If you're walking 200 miles, you're going to have to piss.
Oh.
And those
Yeah.
few seconds would probably freeze your dick
Mm.
if you're in the North Pole.
But-
so maybe.
If it's that's
You
serious.
can't piss in your pants for
Like,
200 miles.
What happens? Like, what's the recovery time on that? And what's
Not
the? Is it just like it takes a while for it to heal, like it would if you had like a circumcision does, or
Well,
is it
it
like
depends. If you
you
have
have to
somebody,
lose that part of this?
if you get the frostbite on your dick, but you get some dude to pee on it, then you're all right for a while, right? Isn't that the
I
cure
think,
for?
and then you just need somebody to suck out the poison.
Yeah,
jellyfish
yeah.
sort of
You
rule.
get a guy to pee on your dick, and then somebody to suck out the poison,
And then you need a jellyfish. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And this is all medical advice.
That's all.
By the way, I did
I'm
hear.
concerned for him, is what I'm saying.
I'm not.
Okay.
Sidebar.
I'd be concerned if you got fucking frostbite on your dick. If the prince gets frostbite on his dick, I have a feeling he's going to be fine.
By sidebar, I heard this, that if you start to freeze to death, they find people naked, a lot of times dead, frozen to death. Right before you freeze to death, you get hot.
Mm.
Oh,
In your
Yeah.
brain, you think you're burning up, and you take all your clothes off.
That
it's
makes
sort
so
of the
much
final
sense.
phase of dying, freezing to death.
Really?
Yeah,
That
I
makes
guess
sense.
everything goes haywire. I don't know what your brain.
It's your brain telling, you got to fight that idea of being cold. Your brain's like, fuck it, you're not cold.
You're on
Fire.
fire.
Cool.
Yeah, dude.
That brain be like, you're done. Let's
brain
go ahead
does
and finish
do
him
that.
off.
isn't that another thing too, though? Like if somebody is hyperthermic or whatever, you got to get naked with them, and they get naked, or I don't know, maybe that's just a porn thing.
I would
Probably
think,
Isn't that a thing?
blankets.
gangbang again.
I would
Yeah,
think
body
blankets.
warmth.
Body warmth. That's what I've always heard. It's like
Yeah.
if somebody's really cold, you get naked, they get naked, you body warmth, and
That's why I kept the hotel room so cold with hoops.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's right.
Hopefully what happens
Gotta
sometimes.
love.
You didn't fall for it, man.
That was a good callback.
I was like, dude, you're going to fucking die, Paul.
What's next on the list? What do you got on the list?
You're either going to die of being cold or I'm going to fucking kill you with a hammer.
Yeah,
You don't
come over
even-
here. Take some more photos. Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of this dick frostbite that's been going around.
But let me suck the poison out.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All
Damn it.
right.
Tom, if
Love
it makes you feel better, they said they did go into detail. It says they had to apply Elizabeth Arden cream to the affected regions.
The brand.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
Harry finally consulted a doctor who advised him that time would heal his petrified penis. So it's just the
Time does
thing.
heal all
Yeah.
wounds.
Wow.
Thank God they had that Elizabeth Arden
Yeah.
Yeah.
cream or whatever.
I don't want the
Promo
word
code.
petrified anywhere around that as a descriptive term either. For,
You I think you really do, don't you?
Yeah, hard. Right? They want it hard.
Yeah.
Known as hard
Yeah.
in the world.
If somebody was like, hey, tell me
Petrified.
about Tom's dick, I'd be petrified.
Blue
Hard cock.
steel,
that's
baby.
scary. Isn't petrified scary?
Dumbest guy in the room, sponsored by Elizabeth Arden.
Yeah.
That's right. It's Elizabeth
if,
Arden shirt.
if I'm petrified,
Yeah, that's right.
that's
Though.
you're scared.
It's got two meanings. Yeah.
Yeah,
Petrified
hard.
can be either where you turn into a rock or you're very scared. That actually would be
Well,
interesting
both.
to look up
Could
what.
just be both. you know?
Yeah.
It's scary how hard it is.
Maybe it comes from like
Frozen.
Sodom and Gomorrah. You know what I mean?
Mm.
They all turned to rock, right? Was that a thing?
Salt.
Oh,
no, she
salt.
turned to salt.
That's Medusa.
No.
No, that's
He's getting his
Stones.
fables
Snake.
mixed up.
His
I
fables.
know,
Yeah,
I know. My dad left when I was young. I didn't get along.
That explains it.
Still dealing with it.
So are you dating on the ships? Are you dating on the ships?
No. No, I'm not dating on the ship.
You're
not
not wearing a
allowed to do
suit.
that.
They're not. You're not.
No, first of all, you can't date the passengers, so that's off limits. And
Wait,
then the
what?
crew-
Really?
No, you can't.
Yeah, right.
That's a hard no. You can't. And so no, I'm like blinders on. Money's more important than anything. I don't care. I can shut my sex drive down. I'm asexual.
Okay.
I always figured it'd be
So I
like
don't
the
like-
Love Boat. No?
The passengers can do whatever they want. The crew can date
No,
the
but-
crew, but I'm like steer clear. I
So
wanna
you
get
stay
paid.
clear. You steer clear of the crude also.
Yeah.
What
I
about
don't
you,
need
Tom?
part
You
of it.
dating on the ships?
No.
No.
I steer clear more than he does. I think.
You don't leave the room, apparently.
That's not necessarily true. I do some. I leave the room some. Especially when I'm in a cell like that, like with no window or anything. I'll spend as much time as I can not in the room, unless I'm sleeping, which
You
could
got
be
the
a lot.
COVID on the ship. You had to stay in that fucking room for.
Yeah, when you
10
have to
days?
stay in, it's even when I have to stay in, it's still only an extra hour and a half that I'm in the room.
Right.
But something about having to be in there makes
Oh,
it
yeah.
like pace the room all day and just like, oh, I gotta,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Just knowing that you can't leave the room.
yeah.
Yeah.
At least you get a window in those, right? Quarantine, you get a window.
Yes.
Yeah, you got a
Quarantine, they
balcony?
actually gave me a balcony.
Oh, nice. All right. Okay. But
Yeah,
I know what you
some-
mean. You
some
can't
to
go get
jump
food.
off.
They deliver food. to
Yeah,
you,
they
right?
won't let me leave the room to get it. You go get food, and they bring it to you. Yeah, and then
Can you be like, I want coffee? They bring. Or
Yeah,
they
they'll
just
bring-
here, take this.
they'll bring me stuff here and there. Yeah, I try not to bug them too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, Yeah, I don't think it's a good thing because COVID, there's a weird amp up of depression that comes with it, right? I've noticed it in people I know that have had COVID. It's the isolation, you think?
I think so.
Probably.
It's literally the first time I've ever been standing on a balcony and considered jumping off.
Really?
Really? Only the first time?
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking bragging. Ooh, I'm Tom. I almost never think about killing myself. Oh, fuck yourself.
You got about 80 more to go to catch Grundy.
Yeah.
Oh, this
that's
month?
That's just
that's my January numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got mine at COVID was at home. It was 10 days, so it was a little bit different. I didn't feel the depression.
Oh yeah.
I felt restless. Like, let's get this over with.
Where are you living now? Because you were in New York. You had a nice,
Charlotte.
you had a beautiful place in New York to yourself, right? And then.
Oh yeah, Carlos was one of my many roommates. I lived with in those 10 years in New York, I had a 3-bedroom apartment. I was the only original tenant. I think 12 by the end of it, a 10-year run, 12 other people would live there. Rented those 2 other rooms.
Nobody could stand being your roommate. They all left.
That has to be
I was
it.
excited about it. I was pretty close to being one of Paul's next roommates at one point.
I was going to say because of when you were saying the thing about OCD earlier, that seems very helpful to have somebody else that is, like, especially for your version, because somebody else has it for you a little bit. You can, in relationships, does that help with the girl that you're with? Does it help any of your wives?
I would say in my relationship, nothing has helped anything at all so far. You know what I mean? So I couldn't really. None of them have worked. So I couldn't tell you anything that's helped.
Well, they all work. They all just work for different periods of time, right? You working forever. That's not a thing. Sorry, Seth. Not a thing.
Seth just got married.
You guys were just saying how great it was because she clips my toenails.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic fucking part of the relationship. I think if you're with somebody who can clip your toenails, you're doing the right thing, man. You know what I mean? It's one less thing for you to do.
I think that's a good question, though. Like, if you're OCD, would you rather be with somebody that is also OCD, or would you rather be with then somebody that was more like reckless?
OCD. I would take OCD.
But wouldn't you just like OCD each other to death?
Yes.
Yeah. Probably.
And that's what the preferable.
You'd have to get real lucky for it to fit, or you balance each other. There would be no balance. But I don't know. I feel like you could work. But yeah, no, not a careless person or a sloppy person. No.
I mean, do you list your OCD? Like, I'm assuming you have some sort of online dating profiles.
Dude, I want to go to couples therapy on the 3rd date. So on the 1st date, I am reading off all of my fucking letters in my diagnosis. You know what I mean? I need you to know exactly what you get into. There's no. I don't want to trick nobody. And then 6 months in, they're like, "Why did you walk back to the door 3 times?" I'm not having that conversation.
Right.
You just need to know it. You either need to accept it or get past it pretty quickly. And then we need to know that shit pretty early.
So you expect them to become comfortable, not comfortable with it, but accept it quicker than it takes you to get out of a door. Like they don't.
It's a faulty joke because you stumbled over it.
Yes.
It fell out of your mouth. You know what I mean? I see what you were going. As he throws his wedding ring, yeah, things are fine. It's a good try, though. I love when you try comedy.
All right. Well, I'll write it down and nail it the next time.
We can shoot that again, right?
Yeah, we'll do it again.
We'll do it again.
We'll
I forgot what it was.
All right.
I forgot what it was. What was it again?
I have the minutes. You were saying
OCD. No. You expect people to.
Oh, so you expect
how long it takes
you expect people to get over your OCD actually faster than it takes you to get out of a door.
There you go. That was much better, dude.
Laugh track and everything.
Like how many times you got to check the doorknob? You want them to accept your OCD by turn 3 times that you've checked the lock.
They don't have to accept it. I hope that they do. They do not have to. I don't want to force anybody to do anything. I would prefer not to be with anybody who has a problem with it. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem. I hope that our things that we don't have a problem with mixes up pretty well.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's I don't know. Living with somebody else is just mostly impossible. I think.
Have you been with anybody that has OCD, or do you list it in your online profile? Like I love that your third date therapy thing. Mm-hmm. That's a good plan.
I think therapy as quick as possible. We're gonna get there eventually. Anyways.
Right.
That should be that'd be a good show, like a dating show that was like first date. Where are you gonna take her? To putt, to a movie, or what? I don't know what people do on dates, or therapy.
Yeah. Putt in a movie.
Putt in a movie. Second date.
Therapy.
Movie's a bad place to go to early date, by the way, because you just got to sit there. You're not talking to each other.
Perfect.
You think you like that? Yeah.
Yeah, don't have to talk to her.
Yeah.
Are you dating, Paul? You on the dating apps?
Not really. I'm on the dating apps, but it's like a thing. It's just like a toxic video game. If like, oh, it's entertaining for now, but no, I don't ever go on dates. Never go on dates.
Dude, I get on a dating app and I delete it within 48 hours every fucking time. I just can't stand the idea.
Because all these bitches keep hooking you up. Yeah, too much. Overflow of bitches.
You're like,
hitting
cool, I
you.
got a list for the next 8 months.
It's like, all right,
Let me
I'm
delete
good.
this.
I met my quota.
I don't know. There's something about it that just, I don't know. I think I'm just too old for it or something.
But do people list those kind of things like I have ADHD or OCD? Yes.
I don't think it's a good idea, but well, not a good idea if you want to get a lot of matches, but I think it's a good idea if you just don't want to fucking deal with the drama of like, oh, well, actually, you know, I have this thing now. Like, yeah, you might as well be just upfront. Like, I'm not on the dating apps or anything like that. Years ago, I was. But I was just as upfront as I could. I'd be like, I'm a stand-up comic. I don't make a lot of money. I'm not going to buy you dinner. I don't expect you to buy me dinner, but I'm not going to buy yours.
How'd that work?
I mean, I would get a match once every other week
I
or
remember
something.
that.
But it would be like whoever did match would be like, well, then you know. I'm like,
Right.
we're being upfront here. You know what you're getting into. So it's not like I'm trying to fake being somebody that I'm not. So, yeah, if you have issues like if you're OCD or anything like that, you might as well just fucking put it out
There
there.
was a
filters
while.
it.
There was a while where I would only date people after they saw me on stage, because I felt like, now you know who I am.
Yeah.
There's no fucking surprises coming at me after that. You know what I mean? You just heard me say all this stuff. It's like
Okay.
we both signed a waiver just now. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
They're exhausting. I'm still on them, but I don't do anything with them.
So but don't do anything with them. You're like, you obviously connect with people here.
I mean,
right?
you know, the idea, I mean, it's weird. This sounds impossible, but I like the idea of having sex or one night stands appealing, and the idea of being in love's appealing. Anything in between those two, I have no interest, which is everything. I don't like getting to know people. I don't want to go on dates. I don't want to go to dinner with a stranger I'm nervous around.
I remember when we lived in New York City, because I was on the apps back then. You were not, but you were like looking into it. And then you were complaining because I think you eventually got Tinder or some shit.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, a lot of these women, they want relationships and stuff. It's like, yeah, no, it's not like they didn't create a magical app that just makes all women want to fuck you. Like, that's not the way it works.
Wrong.
Yeah, because you thought you're just gonna get like, oh yeah, this one wants to fuck and then we'll fuck tomorrow or some shit. But it's like, no, they're still human beings that you gotta somehow.
Yeah, it's a courting
convince.
process again, which I have no
Yeah.
interest in. Like, oh, you had a pretty face, and then we talked for a minute. So now I'm going to text a train across the city. We're going to have a coffee shop at the long shot that we're going to be a match.
Right.
I know
Just
comics
call
and
them and
friends that would
talk to
just do
them.
that. I'm like, I don't want to go meet a stranger at a coffee shop today, ever.
But you thought it was
Ever.
literally gonna be like, I match with this person, we're fucking tomorrow.
I was hoping.
Yeah, it's not magic,
Not
though.
even tomorrow, tonight, and then that would be it because I'm
Yeah.
really tomorrow.
I got a spot tonight, so tomorrow.
I know, and I'm on these like. I guess these ones are like threesome. I've been on threesome apps before.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like a little more open, like poly, like amorous stuff. And those things are boring too.
Yeah, they're the worst.
They're bad.
Those ones are worse than the other ones.
You're like, I'm gonna hook up with a couple. That'd be great. It's exciting, and then that's a whole. Yeah, it's a whole fucking ordeal. It's draining.
What do you mean it's an ordeal?
I mean,
Because
I
now
have a
you got to deal with two people.
yes, yes. They both got to vet. You got to get to know each other and this and that, and plan this whole thing. You got more people
The
involved.
situation is fantastic if you can get into it. But
Now you got to have 2 cups of coffee?
And now I have a joke about it that I've had for a long time. That it was like couples are on there like, we need something long term. A fucking couple. I think they say that though. It's a joke. It wrote itself. But I'm like, yeah, they want a long term third person. I'm like, fuck all of this. None of this interests me.
What is
I
it
don't
that
be in
you
a
say?
weird-
What did you say? I'm not gonna ask you to do the bit, but it's
Oh.
funny though. That
But yeah, why would they? But in theory, if you're just putting it out there what you want, that would be what you want. You'd want a third person that sort of fits into your thing, so you don't have to vet a new person every 3 weeks or however often you're doing that. You know, or,
those situations are like super complex too, though, because
yeah,
not every situation is the same, right? Like this couple might want a third person who's there for everybody, might just want to date one of them, or there's so many fucking terms and things that go into
Yeah.
it. The what is it? Dinner table, dining room table, poly type of shit, where it's like everybody can just hang out together. There's so much stuff that it's complex, man. I think the situations are fantastic. I think it's legitimately the way to go. but it's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, it sounds like more responsibility. I was hoping for an orgy, and it turns into this pay a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah.
Whatever we're doing. Pick up the kids from soccer practice bullshit. I'm not in that.
Somebody else might do the shopping. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want any of that boring stuff, any of that. No more commitments or responsibilities. The fun. I don't know. There's no way. I get it. You got to vet people in this day and age. You can't just.
It's like neither one of us can make it to soccer practice. Can you show up on Saturday morning?
Yeah. This shitty kid. I mean, it's like, I don't know. So there's no fun to be. I mean, I understand you got to vet and like it's just people in line, but there's no fun to be had on it anymore for me. I'm just have them like bored at night. I swipe. I'm like, oh, pretty. She's beautiful. Oh, that's hot. Or maybe it's a fantasy for a second, but rarely.
Okay.
Nothing comes of it ever anymore. I think I got with a couple girls off dating apps back in the day, in 2015 maybe.
But it's usually for you. It's people you meet in real life.
No, I don't really hook up. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Really? Good-looking guy like you?
It
doesn't give me hope. I can tell you that. You have to actually be able to talk to other human beings.
That's it.
Well, and he doesn't wear shirts like that. So that's.
Come on now.
I think you would do great in that shirt, actually.
Yeah. The camera hates that shirt, by the way. I've had to adjust the brightness like 3 times. It doesn't know what to do with your shirt.
It's just Biloxi, Mississippi, sleight of hand magic. Let me show you guys something. Table to table. Let me go out there in the crowd and talk to these people.
My comedy is magic.
It is. It really is. Fucking guys. I know. But I forgot what I was going to say. So no, that's what I need. Testosterone. I'm 47. I need to get testosterone replacement. I think that's part of the problem. I really do think my sex drive is like, which is sort of like.
But why would you though, man?
I'm fine with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that it just sort of like it's not
at a level where it's like you're not. When you're younger, it's nonstop on. Like, okay,
right.
dude, this,
But also, I don't think when I was in my 20s, I was as driven as my buddies in their 20s. I get buddies that, they just have to. And all day, every day. And I never was quite at that level. It was there for sure. And I was horny and I wanted to get laid, but no, I didn't chase it like everybody else. Even when I was 22. They sort of had to fall in my lap and then, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I want this to happen, but I'm not going to try that hard.
Not having a sex drive is a gift, at least as a guy, because then now you're not driven by this stupid shit.
That adds up to a ton of time to not have that anymore. Mm-hmm. No more of your decisions or your resentments or your, you have none of that anymore. That's as a man, that would be. I don't know about incredible, but it would save you a lot of time.
I always go back to that.
Bad decision making.
I don't remember the whole episode, but I think there's a Seinfeld episode where George lost his sex drive and he ended up like learning Portuguese.
Yeah.
Because he just freed up.
Isn't his hair growing back?
Yeah. Because like all that brain power that went into trying to get laid, he can like actually do productive things with that. And it's an exaggeration, but I think in reality, I'd love to not have a sex drive anymore, not have my decisions influenced by whether I want to get laid or not.
Yeah,
I wish they had that for other things, like cake or whatever, sweets. Where all of a sudden I just didn't have a drive for them anymore. Like,
have you ever seen a cake give birth?
That's what I maybe need. Maybe like a Black Forest leaking out some cherry right at the
that sounds delicious.
That sounds good. Yeah, it's a miracle.
Yes,
it does feel like sidestepping a lot of drama. Like now with no sex drive, I just feel like it's like that part of life I don't have to worry about. I don't feel like I'm missing too much. At some point, if you go the rest of your life for 30 more years or something, and I never have sex again, then that's unhealthy. But for a few years, I can do it just like quiet.
Yeah, I don't want to not have one.
No yelling. I'm not spending money. I love it. The idea, here's what I don't even need that guy. So after birth or an episiotomy. If I think of a girl going, what about Thursday? And I'm like, I can't Thursday. And they're like, as soon as that I'm already like, I have no attraction. I want no part of this.
Where are we going to eat, Paul? Nah, I'm done.
I'm out. Have a nice life.
How hard
There's someone out there for you.
So the girlfriends that you've had and dated for long periods of time, are they just saints? What do you mean? What are they doing?
This has gotten worse. I'm older. I'm stuck in my ways. I've gotten worse. I was a little more flexible when I was younger. Now I'm a little more stubborn. But yeah. I'm sure they were miserable with me.
I don't know one person that doesn't love Paul Hooper. Do you? Have you met anybody that like Paul Hooper? That guy's kind of a dick.
No, not
just
really.
Tom.
Just
you when he's not here. That's it.
Yeah.
Other than that.
I mean, seriously, is that hard to live up to? Is there anxiety in that,
people love me? I don't know.
What are you talking about?
I mean, I hope, but I don't know. I don't think I'm a bad dude. I just think I complain. So hopefully my friends get it. Like, oh, this comes from a good place. So hopefully
it feels like we're gonna be.
I'm like harmless at my core. I'm like I talk a lot of shit, and my friends get it.
I like to get you complaining. Like I like to antagonize that. It's fun to me.
Yeah.
And those are my best friends that do that. They get it. It's when people like I start complaining, they seem to take it too seriously. That's when I'm like, oh man, you're reading this all wrong. And it bums me out. Then I get all jammed up mentally. I'm like, I'm not good with people like that. I feel like you can't get. I'm just talking shit. Even trying to get a rise out of people. It's for fun. It's for the laugh. Even if you're irritated. I did have a girlfriend one time that sort of got. When we weren't good in other ways, but she did have a good sense of humor where I could fuck with her, and she was like, you just got to stop. Or she's like, you're a fucking weirdo.
that makes you happy.
I mean, there's like things I would do. I just thought of this earlier. This makes no sense, but it was one time, you know her. I was dating a girl from West Virginia forever. She did have a good sense of humor.
Well, keep going. I have to pee.
Go pee.
Pee break. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But it was almost like one time we go to her hometown, and if there was a coffee shop in the town, a small town, it's called the Trolley Stop or something. I'd change the name of it to like. I tell her family, I'm like, I gotta get coffee. I'm going to the Whistle Pig, and she's like, "That's not." And they're like, "What?" And she's like, "That's his thing. He just changes it
Whistle
to some
Pig.
stupid."
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? And she thought it was funny. She's like, "Oh, this Whistle Pig. You keep changing names. You say the dumb thing, the weird thing."
What town was it?
It was Elkins, West Virginia.
Okay, yeah.
Up there, and they had a small coffee shop, one in town.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
usually how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an hour north of Snowshoe. You know that area. And then she would laugh at it, and I'm like, oh, it made me more attracted to her. That like she got it. She would explain. She wasn't like that exasperated. She was like, oh god, this again. But she sort of smirk, and I'm like, that's sexy to me. That you sort of let me, my dumb little games. You don't mean anything by that. I'm not trying to piss everybody off here today.
You're just trying to amuse yourself and name it something different. I used to have a thing with Serena that I would do that annoyed the shit out of her, where she'd pointed out to me some kid that had a house there and that something to do with a gun, and then later on in life, somebody they'd been out shooting the gun, and then later on in life, something happened where somebody got shot in that house. And so I would go by there and do what I do. I'd be like, oh, that's the house, right, where you shot the guy's grandmother or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously, I know that's not the story, right?
It's fun.
It's fun.
I love it.
Yeah, that's it. She would get annoyed by that. She's like, I didn't shoot. I know you didn't shoot. That's the joke. Like, it was those two things, and you caused that. That's funny, but it's not to.
I mean, I pushed it further. There was that same girlfriend I did it where she told me at the beginning of the relationship, we had the discussion of like, who's the biggest size of penises with her ex-boyfriends. Like, how do I rank?
Why would you get into that as a conversation?
With her, it made sense. Funny. And I didn't mind it. I was actually like pretty secure in that. I was like, okay. And she's like, you're like third or I was up there. I was up there.
You made the podium.
Made the podium. You're right. I was a medalist. And then she's like, well, my ex, Tyler. I mean, she's like one of those. It's so big it hurt. It's ridiculous. So I'm like, what? I wasn't threatened because if he had an 11-inch dick, I don't care.
Right.
Whatever. And then, but I would bring it up. Just sort of make her.
Regularly.
I would like, I know you're thinking about Tyler, right? Or Tyler's dick. And I brought it up in front of her friends one time, and she's like, Paul. But she would laugh, like, quit fucking doing this. She's like, is this a real thing or is this a joke? I'm like, it's a joke. Paul, I pretend that I'm bothered by Tyler's penis. I'm threatened, but I'm not. It's
Paul,
funny.
this spaghetti is not as good as the last time. Well, I bet you like Tyler's. Right?
Yeah.
Tyler's dick. It's always Tyler's dick. She's like, Paul, if you got a real problem with this, you need to tell me. No, it's a stupid joke. I don't know. Take a bit of information. I like that. Confusion or I don't even know what the word is for that. Maybe it's a bad joke. Maybe it's not a joke at all, but
you never tease her about the smaller ones, right?
No. I do think there's a lot of funny and uncomfortable stuff of other people. It's like the bar thing, when you go in a bar, what would I like to see done at this bar? Peeing on and pulling the TV. I like the audience. It's like I always love Phil Hendry. Phil Hendry?
Yeah.
When he did those pranks of like, there's people that take his shit seriously and there's other people behind it that know it's a joke. So he's fucking with people. I've always liked that.
What are the things that make you uncomfortable? And do you like being uncomfortable? Like if someone
was messing with me, yeah, I do.
Okay.
If I can realize if they're just fucking with me, yeah, I love it. I mean, even if I take the bait, yeah, it's for the joke. I laugh. Maybe not my reflex, but then I'm like, oh fuck, they got me. I love that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
So when Tom texts you an hour after you leave here, and he's like, hey, dude, found your social security card.
I won't like that. I'll fall for it. But yeah, good play. Well played. I do that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all right for that. Life's too boring.
I'm trying to
Fuck
think
with
of a
people.
time where I
Is
messed with
life
you.
boring?
Life?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that. It's not boring.
It feels exhausting.
It is exhausting training. It's better now. I'm actually more positive about it than I used to be.
But
Yeah,
that's
so
different
it's
than
not
boring, though, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't
Life
feel
is-
like worn out by life until I like see myself like in a picture or on a video. Then I'm like, look at that. You just look like you've been taking a beating. You know what I mean? But I feel full of life. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm recognizing, oh man, maybe I need some sleep or something. You know, more sleep. That's really the problem with me.
We were
I'm not
talking
getting
about.
enough of it.
You brought up an interesting thing when we were just on our way up here when you're talking about Mullen, that Nick Mullen, the comedian Nick Mullen, you had a conversation with him where he was talking about just being bored on stage. And I'm like, I've never had that. Like I've had moments where like I really like going on stage or I really hated being on stage. But I've never been on stage and been so dispassionate to the point where I'm gonna just I might fall asleep in the middle of my set. Like
Really?
boring seems like such a weird word to describe being on stage.
I
Like
felt
bored.
that, I think.
Really?
Bored on stage?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you felt like I might just take a nap in the
It
middle
felt
of this
like
thing?
I've
Never.
had
Me either.
I've been on stage and done shows where I was like, ugh, this is like community theater. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I don't give a fuck to be here, and I don't think they give a fuck to be here.
Right.
Okay.
Well, he was also saying too that was the question. Are you bored when it's not going well? They're not into it. And he's like, no, even if it's going well, I'm bored. He
Yeah.
said, and that's when I was like, oh, I've never felt that. The crowd's
Why is
connected.
he doing it then?
I mean, I think he's going through a thing at that time, and since he's,
Do
He
you
was just in Charlotte, wasn't he?
do you still
He-
love
right now
comedy?
he's in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Do you still love comedy?
Yes.
Still, that's a yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I still
Yeah.
yeah.
Tom.
But 2 years ago you didn't. You were like,
Right.
felt like you were done.
I thought it was over.
I
I
was
was
trying to
burnt out too. I needed to leave New York too. I needed
Were
to get
you
out of New
glad
York.
it was done?
Yes. When it first happened, I was absolutely happy.
Me
And I
too.
wanted it to go more than 2 weeks. I didn't want to. I mean, I wanted COVID to end, but I didn't want to come back to comedy in 2 weeks. If
Right.
COVID had just been, we'd fixed it in those two. I needed a break. I was with a year, and I wasn't even ready to come back at a year. 51 weeks, a week short of a full year, and I
Because
got
you
offered to
didn't.
do Atlanta, and that Atlanta weekend, and I'm like, I didn't want to take it.
Yeah, I remember because like I kind of felt weirdly like at first like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And then I had some time off, and it felt like hitting a refresh button, like having
Yeah.
that time off. But then it was like they started doing some mics. Jenny Stencil started doing mics around here, and I just would go to them, and it'd be the same 7 or 8 of us doing stand up to each other, and that was like, I like this again,
I mean, that was just to keep a few of us alive
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
I remember you
And
telling
then-
me that.
And
I
you
was-
had no desire because people were doing like pop-up shows or drive-in theater shows or outdoor shows or Zoom shows, and you were like, nope, fuck it, I'm done doing any shows. I'm not doing this again until it's real comedy again. And it was like, we're going to have to adjust and find out different ways to reach audiences and be funny. And you're like, I have no desire to learn it or do it.
Right.
And you were just done. And then
done with it. I mean, still those shows. If you told me like, hey, you can do a show in the parking lot? No, I don't. I don't want to be on a train. I want to stand in a
Right.
park. I want to be in a club with a fucking roof and a mic. And none of that. The stuff that was happening in New York, even in my best comedy mood, I wouldn't want to do it. I would have done it in a better mood, but definitely when that hit, I was not going to do it. I'm like, I'll quit comedy for sure.
As you were, because I went through the same thing, man. I was like, I was so happy to be done. I was like, I didn't know I could quit. And then when I was forced to not do it, I was like, I really don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And then, I think better of it, and obviously I do. But when you thought about quitting, I know you said that there was nothing you could think of that you could do. But what are the things that as you were sitting there, like, oh, I'm never doing comedy again? What were the things? Was it get a job? What kind of job was it? What was the thing?
I mean, the only thing I think, and the only thing that helped me get through the pandemic was like, I mean, with the whole workout exercise stuff, that's what filled the gap of going on stage. So I was able to, I need something to be obsessed with to fill it, like an addiction, just like quitting drinking. Something's got to replace it.
I went with muffins.
I remember that. I remember
what
those
I'm saying?
fucking muffins you eat
dude.
every day, all that bread. Yeah.
It
And then, but so I was like, I don't know. Then you're like, oh, I love working out and exercising. What am I? I'm a personal trainer. But then I was like, that's not what I want to do.
You
I
couldn't
like
be up
doing it
there
for
on a
myself.
Peloton, telling people, making them laugh, and being like, "Come on, yeah, whatever's," and then making fun of. I don't know why you're doing the little guy again. You're like
scurrying.
or you're scurrying
Hamster
along.
wheel.
You're talking to people in their houses. I wouldn't. You couldn't do that. I feel like you'd be good at that.
I mean, maybe I could. I always felt like I was going to have to.
Teach
That's
us,
the only
like-
thing I don't hate in this world. My family's like, the post office is hiring, and that made me suicidal. Like,
My mother-in-law's
so
done that
sad.
to me for 20 years. Literally, she'll be like, "Tom, the post office is hiring." You're like, I have a fucking job, right? This is what I do for a
I
living.
write on television shows,
Like,
Mom.
yes. Like,
I know nothing sounded good, and you're in your late 40s, so you're like, okay, I'm not a 22-year-old that can just change course. I'll go to college. I'll go in the military.
And you've been a fucking comedian for however long. It's like, now have a boss.
Yes.
Fuck all of that.
That's
dude.
what-
It's an impossibility.
yeah, but that is sort of what it feels like. Like then you started work. You had people that were like, "Doe, you can do ships, man." Blah blah.
Yeah.
And I think like guys like you doing them are encouraging for other people. Like they're like, "Oh, well, if Paul Hooper can do it." You know what I mean? Paul Hooper's pulling his dick out on stage or whatever. You know what I mean?
Back in the day.
Yeah, but
It wasn't my
but
dick, it was
still,
my
like
balls.
you're original. Like we've talked about before. You're very unique in the way you do comedy. It doesn't seem like it's mainstream sort of enough for a shit, but realizing that that's what they are now. They're like the comedy clubs in the early 2000s, basically, or even better. So
It's changed. It saved me in a way. It kept me in comedy for sure. Because if it hadn't a year ago and started doing ships, I would have had to get a normal job. And I don't know. I don't know if I would have gone on and done sets at night. I don't know if I would have missed it enough. But I needed to stay on stage full time and get paid doing it to keep going.
right.
And it sort of just fell in my lap, and then I just did it and
And
applied
then you
myself.
did what we talked about, which is like you did the work to find
Yeah.
to keep working towards getting 5 shows. And now, have you written all new material, or have you gone back and grabbed your old stuff and built shows around stuff that you
All
had
of it.
stopped doing?
Both, like past is the stuff I was doing, and then the new stuff.
How long did
all
it
of
take you? How long did it take you to get to 5 shows?
I got lucky somewhere. So I started doing the first one I did. Ship was in like November of 2021. I did that one. That was the one where like people were asleep and they were old. And then I started doing the younger cruise like January of last year. So as soon as 2022 started, by April I did this one ship for 3 weeks. And there was a British comedy club host. He's like an ex-MMA fighter guy. And so, you have your 2 adult shows and 1 clean, and you can repeat one of each in the beginning.
Right.
So you have your 5 shows, and he's like, these people don't want to see repeats. I don't want to announce them. He's like, fucking find it.
That's a
He's basically like,
great British accent, by the way.
oh, that is right.
Yeah, excellent British accent. Master
I hear that played
impressionist.
back. I'm telling you. But he's like, do whatever. He's like, fine, do crowd work, do whatever, find it, write new bits. I got your back. He liked me, thought I was funny. So he's like, over those 3 weeks, he let me like find it. And then I found I was able to like get another show or 2 and then tighten those up over the next few months.
Right.
But yeah, that dude right there let me do it. And I was like, oh man, it's terrifying. And then, but like, you're reaching for everything.
Right.
And that guy
Old
was
new.
Prince William.
Wow.
I think he did get fired, but not for that, but later. And
It was for the Dick
Yeah, frozen penis.
Frost. Yeah, that's right.
Dick Frost. Yeah.
Dick
but so-
Frost.
And so you're able to find it, and then now you got 5 shows, and then now do you move some of those out, and you're developing another new show, or is that
Yeah, I want to. I'd like to have a 6th one. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like, whatever makes me write more.
It's fun though, right? Because now you're like, it gives you that excitement about comedy again, which you thought was like, oh, this is the end of the line for me, and now you're like, oh, I'm rejuvenated by doing comedy.
My entire adult life too, I've been broke 1 million times, and it's just like, oh, I'm coming home with most of the money. That's the first. I was 46 years old before I felt like, oh, I'm gonna go home with most of this money. Most of the time, it's like, oh, it's a $700 flight and a $50 Uber, and I paid for this or that, and I'm like, oh, let's split the money down the middle, or 3/4 of it's gone before I come home, and I'm like, I've been living that way since I was 23, and now I'm like, oh fuck.
When you were 23,
That's
it
nice.
was like, this is awesome.
Yes.
I will give away 60% of my money to fucking go do this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can only go to Wichita so many times and
Right.
come back with
You get
$375
stuck.
bucks.
You get stuck in that, and that because it is so cool, but then you age out of it, but you don't know how to change it. So
Yeah.
I mean, being 46 and figuring that out is, sooner than a lot of people in comedy figured it out. in the past. You know what I mean?
Is he helping you get on ships?
Fuck no.
Oh, come on, man.
I've been begging him, and he will not. He'll be like, get you on a dinghy.
Dinghy. Come on.
You only got to do 2 shows on the dinghy.
You
That's
guys
right.
know Carlos
Praise the Lord.
Valencia. He's the dinghy
I'm
comedian.
the dinghy comedian.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Like while people are being
I got
taken
frostbite
off
on my
cruise.
dinghy.
You should really do that. You should really be hooking people up. But you're trying
I'm
to
happy
Oh,
to help you.
speaking of, how many people have you gotten on
Dude,
the
we gotta go. We gotta go.
Tom
We gotta
is-
wrap it up. This episode is coming
Oh,
to
no.
an end. I
What do you mean?
gotta set sail, right?
Do it. He stood up again. He stood
damn
up
it.
again.
I encouraged Hooper to get on.
Yeah.
I'll help you get on. I'll help you
Encouraged.
get on.
He didn't help.
Huh?
He encouraged. Yes, you should do that. Goodbye. If
Don't
you ever meet
dismiss
someone that could assist in that,
Yeah.
that'd be nice.
Yes.
it. Don't dismiss it altogether. That was
I know a
how
guy.
he
I know a
encouraged
guy I don't want to introduce you to.
I don't take the chance on you. Yeah, I know. I still love you. You know that.
Yes.
God, I love
do
you.
know that, and I appreciate that, and I apologize to you for not having you on the show sooner than now. You know, and I know you keep texting me and direct messaging me. When am I going to be on? When am I going to be
Yes.
on? Because he loves the podcast.
I
you what I'm
know.
saying?
That's
love
all he
it.
talks about.
Yes.
Listen to it every day.
Yeah.
Well, you know, comedians are typically a supportive group of people. We watch each other's stuff, and
Right.
make sure. You know, we had Jimmy Dore on, who's 1.1 million subscribers on YouTube, and Tom was like, "I've never seen it." So,
I was like, "What do you do? What's your name again?"
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know who's famous in this business anymore, right?
Carlos is famous. He does a podcast called Card Shots
Card
every Friday.
shots. Yeah. It's
Oh, that's right.
Every Friday night we play poker, and Trendy takes all our money.
You went out of your way to
Oh,
invite
shit.
me to be on that, and
I did.
And I was like on a ship. I have millions of excuses for not doing
Oh
things.
yeah, I know. Well, you're a podcast entrepreneur now.
Yeah,
so
Now I
you
got
can't really-
businesses to run
all over the
Michigan,
place.
huh?
Yeah.
You know, I spend a lot of time preparing, doing pre-show work
Yeah,
to
and
figure
for
out what I'm
picking
going to
out
talk
your-
to people
picking
about.
out your outfit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
Wardrobe.
Yeah. Just the wardrobe alone.
yeah.
I do feel like it's bad for my eyes to stare at it.
Well, I'll take it off, and we'll do
Dude,
this
all
a different
topless. Yeah.
No, next episode, everybody's got no shirt on. So.
I will say that though about your douche pictures on Instagram is because, like you were saying earlier, it's like it's annoying, but if you're doing it to be annoying, then I can appreciate it. Like it's like, oh, this annoys people, so I'm just gonna do it more.
See,
Then I have respect for it.
I
because it's just-
respect it. I
There's
respect
both.
it more if it's not annoying. I understand that annoying is like a treat that you get out of it. Man, I got no problem with you loving you and being a fucking
you.
healthier Paul, baby. Like
Thank
the
you.
longer that each of you lives, the better my life is, and my life is trash. You know what I mean? So I need you guys to
Oh,
be
man.
healthy.
I feel like
Thank you,
I feel like
Simmons.
we're missing out if we don't get a shot of your shoulders for our viewers.
Oh,
A
we got a
shot of my
shot. I got a
shoulders?
camera right on his shoulder, just
Yeah.
right here. That's the
Okay.
only
With this
thing.
posture
all.
where I'm sitting like this the whole time.
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
ball.
Is this like
guy's
the
not in shape?
Owen's been having a rotator cuff problem a little bit. Like
He's a
got-
pitcher.
Yeah. So need some shoulder work. Maybe the PT guys are hiding from him that only Paul Hooper knows. You know what I'm saying? That can help out
Advice,
us.
do it. Well, he uses like he's
Yeah.
on the Tom Simmons workout. Right? You do 3 days and you take 5 months off.
Yeah.
That'll get your shoulder injured.
It's a lot of rest. He needs to rest it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please,
Sure, it's
Jesus
not all the
Christ.
rings or whatever that he wears that's weighing down his shoulder.
Yeah, throwing a baseball with rings on his hand.
Yeah, I see he's like, wearing a lot of jewelry.
That might be it.
That
Yeah.
might be it. Yeah, dude. Come on.
All right. That's this episode.
That's it.
Crank
He's
it.
literally walking out
So
of the room.
good at goodbyes.
Goodbye, everybody. I'm really bad. That should be the name of the show. Terrible at goodbyes.
That's right. I
Love you guys.
Love
Yeah.
you, Tom. Thanks for having
Love
me.
you.